org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
We turn now to look at the secret U.S. drone war in Pakistan. Late last month, a group of Pakistanis met in Islamabad to discuss the impact of U.S. drone strikes in their communities. One of the attendees was a boy named Tariq Aziz, who had volunteered to learn photography to begin documenting drone strikes near his home. Within 72 hours of the meeting, Tariq Aziz himself was killed in a U.S. drone strike. He was 16 years old. His 12-year-old cousin was also killed.
We're joined now by Protap Chatterjee, a reporter for the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, director of Corp Watch. He was in Pakistan this month and went to the news conference where Tariq Aziz was just days before he was killed. Protap is back now in London. Protap, tell us what took place in Islamabad, how you came to meet Tariq Aziz, and then what happened.
Amy, a group here in London called Reprieve, which is a legal charity, and a group in Islamabad by the name of the Foundation for Fundamental Rights worked with Waziristan elders to create a Waziristan Grand Jirga, in which they brought together elders and families of those that had been killed in the drone strikes over the last 5 years in northern Pakistan. So they met at the Margala Hotel, and this Jirga was held on Friday the 28th, and there were probably 35 people who were families, relatives of people who were killed. Included among them was Tariq Aziz, whom I met briefly, who was 16, and he had lost his cousin 18 months ago. His cousin's name is Aswar Ullah, who was killed when he was riding a motorbike near their home village of Norak. So at that meeting, the elders, as is typical in a jirga, met to discuss what had happened. They adopted a resolution condemning the strikes, and then went to a rally organized by Imran Khan. And Tariq Aziz traveled with all of us to the rally. There were lawyers, there were reporters. It was an open meeting, an open rally in front of the parliament in Islamabad. After that, Tariq Aziz and the other attendees returned to their homes, and 72 hours later, when Tariq was traveling with his 12-year-old cousin to go pick up his aunt on Monday morning, he was killed in a drone strike.
He had expressed concern at the news conference of going home?
Well, Amy, he was not at the news conference, but at the Jirga. I think every one of the people there were very aware of the situation that they were in, because in every village around Mir Ali, Miran Shah, they had drones often 24 hours a day. So people were aware of the threat to them, yet they volunteered. Tariq in particular, because he, at his age in that sort of remote community, was familiar with computers, was excited about the idea of being able to document the civilian casualties. There's a photographer who's been doing that for 3 years, and Nur Behram is his name, and he's been doing a lot of documentation. Tariq was one of the young men who had volunteered to help him out and to be able to document, you know, the devastation that had happened in their own family.
And Protap, he is now one of about 175 children that have been killed in these drone strikes in recent years in Pakistan. And what about the rest of the civilian casualties?
Exactly. Juan, the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, where I work, has created a database of everybody that has been killed since these drone strikes began a number of years ago under Bush. 85% of them have taken place under Barack Obama. And we have used the most conservative counting methodology that we can. We only record a death if it is confirmed by multiple sources. So if it's reported by AP and then re-reported by the New York Times, we don't count it. It has to be reported by multiple sources. And using that methodology, we've counted over 2,300 people that have been killed, and as many as 3,000. And when we have found an individual below the age of 18, a child, in other words, we have identified them separately, and we have documented at least 175 children, together with a number of women that have been killed in these strikes, that have been casualties of this secret war in Afghanistan. So Wahid Khan, age 12, and Tariq Aziz, age 16, were the 174th and 175th documented child casualties in this war. One of the things that John Brennan and many people in the administration are fond of saying is these are all militants. Well, I question how a 12-year-old could be a militant in this war. But more than that, the very fact that I personally was able to meet them in an open public meeting in Islamabad, I question as to whether the CIA is really attempting to identify people before they kill them. Because if this person was a militant, they could well have met them in Islamabad, as did hundreds of other people. And at the press conference, there were I counted 23 cameras. At the Jirga, there were a dozen cameras. There were thousands of people in the streets of Islamabad. It would have been so easy for the CIA, the ISI, to come question these kids, to have taken them aside, even put them in jail or interrogated them, send them to Guantanamo, but instead they chose to kill them. This, to my mind, suggests that their information is erroneous, that there is collateral damage, and these are children that they are killing.
Protap, I'm looking at Clive Stafford Smith's piece, who heads up Reprieve, that gathered that group together. He said, I told the elders the only way to convince the American people of their suffering was to accumulate physical proof that civilians had been killed. Tariq stepped forward. He volunteered to gather proof if it would help to protect his family from future harm. We told him to think about it some more before moving forward. I asked about the importance of documenting evidence. That was Clive Stafford Smith talking about the 16-year-old Tariq Aziz, who then went home to do that documentation and was killed with his 12-year-old cousin.
Amy, one of the problems here is that because Waziristan is inaccessible to Western reporters, and indeed even Pakistani reporters from the cities, when the CIA or the Pakistani government, Pakistani military says they have killed militants, high-level targets, there's no way to prove otherwise. So the only way that's possible is to gather physical evidence. Last week in Islamabad, in fact, continuing as we speak, there is an exhibit of 7 fragments of Hellfire missiles that I have seen and photographed myself with serial numbers on them that local villagers have picked up and can date to the dates of these attacks. So there's physical evidence that those missiles with those serial numbers have hit communities in Waziristan. Noor Behram has been very meticulous in taking photographs as soon as a drone strike takes place of individuals that have been killed. But these strikes take place over a very large area, and the only way to be able to prove that the CIA is killing innocent people is to muster as many people as possible, give them cameras, and try and arrange to prove that the CIA is wrong. And that is what Tariq Aziz was trying to do. That is what a number of people have been trying to do. Because nobody believes people from Waziristan. All they believe, the information they get is from the CIA. And that information is clearly wrong, as I have experienced myself.
And Pratap, what is the reaction, if any, of the Pakistani government to these continued killings of civilians in their country?
Well, the Pakistani government speaks like the U.S. government with many voices. By and large, they are silent. They sometimes claim that the U.S. government is doing this without their own permission. But there are also military officials in Pakistan who have claimed that every person that has been killed has been a militant. And this is part of the problem, is that even though the government supposedly is not involved in this, there is a nod and wink going on, where they are working with the CIA, they are working with the White House in order to be able to ensure that there is no culpability. Here's the thing: in Pakistan, if somebody is killed, just as in the U.S., the state would intervene and investigate a murder. In Pakistan, the family can sue. A blood money can be paid, and in fact the US government in many countries has done this. It's called Salah share payments. In Afghanistan, in Iraq, the US has compensated people that they have killed by accident. In Pakistan, that does not take place. The Pakistani government, the US government, the local courts have not intervened. And so Shahzad Akbar, who's a lawyer with the Foundation for Fundamental Rights in Pakistan, is trying to bring justice to these communities. He's worked with a journalist by the name of Imran Khan, and Kareem, in fact, has lost his son and his brother in drone strikes, and he brought a lawsuit last December against the CIA. He named Jonathan Banks, the head of the CIA, who then fled the country. Today, Shahzad is working to try and bring these kinds of lawsuits against the Pakistani government, against the CIA, to try and get compensation for these communities, because the Pakistani government is not stepping up to the plate. There is one politician today, Imran Khan, who is trying to change this, and he has said that he is going to, if he is elected, to try and bring justice and to deny the U.S. government permission to kill innocent people in Pakistan.
He is the famous cricketer who conceivably will run for president, is that right, of Pakistan? And people can go to our website at democracynow.org to see the different interviews that we've done with him as he's come to the United States, Pratap.
Imran Khan is running for the 2013 elections. Until recently, he was actually considered kind of a marginal player. But interestingly, the day the rally that Tariq Aziz attended, perhaps 2,000 people went to that Imran Khan rally. Nawaz Sharif had 35,000 people. But the following day in Lahore, Imran Khan had over 100,000 people. Some believe as many as 500,000 people attending. This is very significant. People are fed up with the drone strikes. They're fed up with the corruption in Pakistan. And the young people are rallying behind Imran Khan because they see him as somebody who's not part of the establishment. Whether or not he can change what the U.S. government does in Pakistan is a question we will only be able to answer if he is elected. But there is certainly widespread dissatisfaction among the young communities. There is a tremendous surge of support for Imran Khan in Waziristan, where you know, people are fed up with the politicians that they have elected and have sent to Islamabad.
We want to thank you very much, Pratap, for being with us. Pratap Chatterjee, a reporter for the Bureau of Investigative Journalism and director of Corp Watch, an NGO that tracks corporate malfeasance. Pratap Chatterjee speaking to us from London. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report.